So I've always looked at these opportunities. Well, that must be what that door's opening. I should probably walk through it. But I will admit that sometimes I think I need to be a little bit more discerning, because sometimes I walk through too many doors.
Yeah. Well, you push back a little. I think I asked you to do something like, what's the timeline on that? So that's,
see, you're good.
That's like a first step, right? Like, I'll commit, but realistically, I got a lot of stuff going on.
I know.
You might have to ask me twice, right?
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's good to be wanted, right?
Yeah. So what ended up happening is, because I love this advocacy stuff, to your point about doing so many different things, little do you know that when you serve in local government, you know a lot about housing, and you know a lot about, governance of HOAs, that now these regional planning entities say, hey, you should serve in this role on this, 6-county planning agency called SCAG, which doesn't sound like a nice name, but it's Southern California Association of Governments, which has been such a, I serve on the Ledge Committee, the committee that oversees housing, and then I serve on the executive committee. So there's a lot of doors there.
Yes. That's a whole bunch of doors. Welcome to the Next Level Living podcast. I'm your host, Summer Blazer, with my co-host, Corey Neubauer. We have Wendy Bucknum with us today, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here.
Welcome. All right, let's tell you a little about Wendy, because there's a lot, girl. And
we did some research.
So Wendy is the new chair of CAI's 2025 Federal Legislation Action Committee, which we're going to get into that. You're division director of Murrow, a Creed company.
Yeah, Murrow Development Consultants. Yep.
Okay, we'll talk about that. And what personal values or experiences have most shaped your path in public service?
Great start.
We got a lot there.
So I first of all, I would say getting involved in this industry was, I kind of fell into it. Isn't that what everybody says?
Yes.
Into the management side of it. I kind of fell into it because I knew a software and I was a financial data person. And it just fit for what was needed at then Leisure World, Laguna Hills, which is now Laguna Woods Village. So I started out as a budget analyst and did budgets and finance and did cost tracking and all kinds of things that there's a lot of detail that goes into that massive operation over there. It's very impressive. And what a beautiful thing for me to be able to be there. So as time went along, I was doing numbers. And, I'm a people person. And so I was feeling like, well, I'm in these numbers, but I really would like more connection with people. So I started to get involved in my community. And one thing led to another, and I ended up getting into a position at Laguna Woods Village that was government and public affairs manager, because again, it's a massive operation over there. So they have, because they're a 55 and better community, legislators love to come and talk to 18,000 people on a TV channel. So I got involved in that. And so I was connected to our district attorneys, our state assemblies, state senators, congresspeople. And that just started to happen. And then I got involved in, working on people's campaigns, because I became connected to these people. I thought, hey, that's a good thing you're doing. And so it was this really, I don't want to overuse it, but it was a very organic thing that happened. And going back to my childhood, I remember my mom and my grandmother and, grandparents were very involved in local politics. And we always knew who our congressperson was, who our town supervisor was. Small town, so different titles back there.
Yeah.
So one of the first campaigns that I ever volunteered on and waved a little flag for was Jack Kemp, who was a former Buffalo Bills football player. I'm originally from Buffalo. Go Bills.
And a big Bills fan, yes.
Yes, I am.
We see that all over your social media, yes.
So we helped on his campaign.
Oh.
And he became a congressperson, and then he was the head of HUD, housing. Isn't that interesting?
Right.
So it's just truly amazing what kind of inspired me. And that was kind of the foundation that was laid. And so it was only natural that I thought, well, I need to be involved in my community where I live, and I need to understand what we need to advocate for. And so it was a natural thing that's kind of how it unfolded in the beginning.
That's beautiful.
How's that?
So simple.
That's
no.
so good.
Yeah,
I love it that it started as a family.
Yeah.
But it goes back to your history.
And trust me, my kids have gotten involved.
Oh, I would imagine.
So
I would imagine.
Yeah. So
were they involved in your campaign?
Yes. So, and my poor son was just entering high school, and so that was a whole thing. But my daughter was wonderful, and my son put up with it. Girls are natural helpers. Is that?
It is. That is true.
Not all, but that's kind of what we experienced. But yes, they were involved, and I headed up an advocacy program for students when my daughter was in high school, and we would take kids to Sacramento and teach them how a bill becomes a law. Schoolhouse Rock, right?
Yes.
We taught them that, and they
Yes.
lived it, and they presented to legislators. In fact, fun story, Todd Spitzer at that time was in the legislature. He's now our Orange County District Attorney. And he was an absolute gem and inspiration to these kids that were trying to understand, what does Sacramento do? What do they, how does the bill become a law? And so we would do that and show them how it's done. And it was just fascinating to have that unfold. So, of course, all of that coming forward, I was really talked into running for my city council, and I was working at the time still for PCM Associa, and very supportive. PCM was just terrific and supportive at me pursuing this. And so one thing led to another. I became a commissioner, and then after a couple of years, I ran for city council. Didn't win the first time. I don't know if anybody knows that.
No.
I didn't know that.
I didn't win.
I
Fun
love it that you went back at it.
200 votes. So the first call I got was from Supervisor Senator. She's assembly person. She's been everything. Pat Bates, as well as Mimi Walters. Again, Mimi went to Congress, and they said, "You're running again." And so I'm like, okay. So 2 years later, I ran and I was successful. And then we rotate the mayorship, and a lot of cities rotate mayorships. So you're not direct elected to it. And so that is how I've been a mayor twice. And then I'll be a mayor a final third time next year, 2026, and then I'll be termed out.
Oh.
Is that common? Like that? I'm not really familiar with that.
Yes. It actually is
the
more common than
rotation?
you think.
It makes sense because then, right, you have that expertise there
Yes.
for a longer period of time, right?
Yeah, it's great. And I think it really keeps people's egos in check.
Yeah, right.
But I will say that part of my passion and advocacy and all those things really stems from my experience in the HOA industry. It really does. And working with developers and showing up at city council meetings for them and saying, hey, this is a good project, because, the people that don't want it show up.
Right.
The people that do, it's hard. It's really difficult. So I always thought, this is a good project. We need to advocate for good projects. So I would also show up because of my HOA experience and say nice things to the city council instead of nasty things, because there's always people that say, why do you go to an HOA board meeting? Are you going to pay a compliment?
Right.
Yeah.
Boy,
Right.
I sure wish more people did.
Amen to that.
Amen.
We're trying to change that,
I
right? That
know.
mindset, right? And
So please, if I could say to you, look around. There's got to be something positive about your beautiful community, your beautiful HOA, city, whatever it is, and go and tell those people, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for volunteering to do this. There's a stipend that the HOA people get, that board members get nothing.
yeah,
But city council gets a small stipend, but typically it's not much.
right.
Except if you're in a bigger city.
Right.
It requires more time, so that makes sense. But small stipend, so it's essentially a volunteer job. Go say something nice.
Yeah.
Hey man, I went to the park. Looks great. I love the new plantings you put in. I know you can find something,
Yes,
because we
agree.
know that in HOAs, the property values are higher than in non-HOAs.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something good.
And everything being built now is going to be in an HOA anyways, right?
That's right. And why is that? Because the cities don't want to take on the common area, because
It's expensive.
property
now.
taxes only cover so much.
Yeah.
And so that's why cities really lean towards that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, in your advocacy front, you're continuing to do all types of work from a federal level.
Mhm.
We're on a committee together, but
Yep.
I'd love to hear kind of how you got to that, and where you're finding success on taking that experience that you have on the HOA and really getting not just Sacramento but Washington to understand.
Great. When that Federal Legislative Action Committee was formed, because I had been serving on the California Legislative Action Committee for so long, and helped establish the Legislative Support Committee at the chapter. It was really, and I was showing up at CAI things. My passion was going to the sessions that had to do with, here's the things that are happening. Here's what the state is doing to impact you. And because I had those connections with those legislators, both as I was moving into city council, but even a little before, you have such a broad reach as a advocate for what you're doing that I thought, you know what? I need to be parlaying and taking some of that and bringing it to my industry and really trying to utilize my relationships to advocate for common sense
Well,
legislation or modifications to bills. And so when when I was getting along in my term at the California level, the staff at CAI knew who I was and said, "Hey, would you be interested in serving on this new federal legislative action committee we're establishing?" Which I was like, "Sure."
so to back up a little bit, CAI, because right, we have some board members that are listening. Give just a little context of that, because I think some boards don't know this organization,
Okay.
and I think it's super educational for them.
Good. Yeah, good point. So I've looked at I looked at all the trade organizations that serve our community, and one of the things that I found very special about CAI is that it serves everyone. It serves the managers that manage these communities. It serves the service providers that provide all the different services that HOAs need, and then also the homeowner. The homeowner leaders that are volunteering have a great support in CAI. They can obtain education. They can stay informed on things. They can weigh in. They can answer. There's surveys that go out where they can participate. So, Community Association Institute to me was a natural fit because I felt that it was our chamber of commerce, if you will.
Yeah.
It was our connection point. And so I have a passion for CAI. I was a director of a president of the chapter. I just served as director for several years and loved serving in that capacity. So going on to the federal level,
This was a natural progression.
It was
right?
natural. And not only that, it was also a time when it was mostly state that impacts HOAs, but we were starting to see some things from the federal level that really impacted HOAs. Financing, mortgages, insurance issues, federal reporting issues, like, board members having to do a registry for nonprofit. And by the way, that's a big win that we do not have to have board members now signing up through the FinCEN, which is really intended
for actual corporations,
for actual huge corporations. And the intention of it was to identify foreign companies that were maybe potentially doing not
scrupulous things,
nefarious things.
Yeah.
Never intended for volunteer homeowner board members. But again, it's that legislation where the unintended consequences and people get swept in.
Yeah, it's not good it might be good for one, but not for all, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, having contacts with congressional representatives, huge advantage because you can talk about common sense. Hey, I don't think that's what was intended.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can change it. And CAI was in the middle of doing that and forming coalitions with other interested parties and industry organizations to have a strong voice at the federal level, which historically
that hadn't happened.
We were very reactionary in the beginning. We have become a force, and our advice is sought out now.
That's great.
So good.
By legislators at the state and now at the state and federal level. So I am just so, and there's relationships. Everything, as you know, is relationships. Same thing with government and with advocacy. It's about relationships.
Well, get to the person,
Mhm.
right, and actually have that real
Yeah.
conversation, not
Are you a
just
trusted? Are
yeah,
you a trusted expert in your field?
yeah,
And they know that,
yeah.
and they're going to listen. So I get calls from Congresswoman Young Kim, who happens to be my congresswoman, and she says, "Hey,
What do I do?
I
Yeah,
see this legislation. What are your
yeah.
thoughts?" And I'm like,
Well, that's pretty
"Wow,
powerful.
it's
Yeah,
awesome."
yeah,
And I'm sure other people get the call
yeah.
too. I can only share what happens to me, but we have people across on our committee that have those kinds of relationships, and those calls come,
That's
and it's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah,
Same
Yes.
thing from the state. I know that you and many others who are advocating before our state legislators. Now they think of you or me or the other person, maybe the
Mhm.
homeowner board member who's volunteering because they can.
yeah.
And by the way, they have a very powerful
Yes,
voice with
yes.
legislators. Um, you can be that contact person.
Yeah.
I mean, how fabulous is that?
To affect positive change, right? Yeah,
Exactly. And you have a organization behind you. You might not know the answer, but you know who to call,
yeah,
Mhm.
and they can get you the answer because that's the support
yeah.
that's
So,
out there.
so talking to FHA and lending
Yeah.
and thing, let's back up and dig into a little bit of that because that's becoming, especially from an
Oh, yeah.
insurance side, right? They can't get enough insurance
Right.
and things. So I know we've talked before about what those FHA requirements are, and is there any movement of
Yes.
trying to adjust those or address it?
Yes, as a matter of fact, what I try to do is I try to share the legislative update with our chapter team
Hmm.
as well when we have our federal update meetings, which are monthly. There is movement. We are in the room. We are talking with the leaders of the kind of that finance arena that's at the federal level that oversee all of those entities. The FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Uh,
So to break that down to like the simplest, that for a homeowner that's trying to sell their house, right? We see this like they get to the end and then they can't get a loan. So
right.
what are some of those things that they're looking to change?
Well, what we're trying to do is make sure that FHA understands the regulatory things that they put in place that are requirements for lending on condominiums specifically. It's
Mhm.
usually
Mhm.
on condominiums.
Yes, yeah,
And explaining to them sometimes their regulatory language is not clear. And so the banks are
Sure.
interpreting it the way they think to be safe because
right.
the banks want, they're
They
looking
have
for that
underwriters. Yeah,
guarantee.
yeah,
They're looking for that guarantee. So we're explaining to them what is practically happening so that we can influence some change in those regulatory structures. And we are getting traction. I mean, the head of FHFA happens to have the last name of Pulte, William Pulte,
mhm,
who understands the impact of finance regulatory hurdles that impact homeownership, that impact selling homes, buying homes, etc. He was appointed as the head of that, and he is doing and listening to us
yeah. Especially
and others, the building industry as well.
yeah, and on the new development stuff, right? Especially in California,
Mm,
a lot of the only available space is in those higher fire risk areas anyway. So
Mhm.
now it's not just existing homes.
right.
It's new communities that those HOA dues are starting off sky
So
high.
high.
Yeah,
And then of course once things get built up, that starts to and they start to not be on the edges,
yeah,
then those insurance rates can go down.
yeah,
That takes time.
yeah,
So part of our problem is the state.
yeah.
So we many organizations, including CAI and our local legislative action group committee and um, our advocate up in Sacramento, Louis Brown, have met with the insurance commissioner and his team and really worked closely with them and very well respected in Sacramento. I have to give a shout out because we are blessed to have advocates working for us that are credible with
Mhm.
legislators and the staff and the regulatory agencies that are up there in those departments and bureaus.
And do you see them really understanding that? Because sometimes you can look from the outside and see that maybe some of those decisions are maybe they don't take all the factors into
They don't.
consideration, especially on the HOA, right? It seems like it's focused to single family home ownership,
Mhm.
which
Yeah,
is
that's a
fine.
challenge.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's how many millions of HOA units in California? It's
Yeah.
a large percentage.
They don't understand the intricacies
Yes.
of that
Yes.
and the technicalities, because it's
It's the master.
technical.
Yeah, it's a master policy compared to
Correct.
each individual unit owner
Right.
policy. That's fine, but
They don't understand.
yeah, right.
And so it's really educating them. And you have to remember we have turnover in the
Yeah.
legislature,
Every
right?
two, right? Yeah, right.
Mhm.
So that happens
A
because
whole new
there's
set of
term
freshmen.
limits.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So then it's an ongoing
Going.
effort to explain, advocate, make sure we've got our message appropriate. So that is going on,
Yeah.
and we have some success stories, and we have some challenges still, because even the insurance from the California Fair Plan.
Yes.
I mean, you are the expert on insurance, but I know that even that it's been increased, but even that doesn't adequately cover in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, because one of the duties that I do at Murrow Development Consultants, which is a Creed company, we support developers as they're getting ready to set up their HOA. So we do the initial association budget. It's called a DRE, Department of Real Estate budget. That's one of the tasks that we do. And all the budget preparers face the same situations. I have so much respect for all of them in the industry. We see that our big challenges on getting insurance quotes, because you can't get an insurance quote on
Somebody that's not there.
Some of
Yeah.
it's not there.
Right.
Yeah.
So and you have to provide that to the Department of Real Estate.
And
it has
what's
to be your backup.
yeah, and what's the if it goes up more than 20%, right? Don't you have to refile?
Correct.
If those rates go up.
Yeah,
So-
you have to have a review of the DRE has to review that. And when you're in a new development process, if it goes up more than 20% in an established HOA, there is a process for the association to approve that
and when
increase.
and when you're trying to forecast, right? You're working on the development of a property. That means it hasn't been built yet.
That's right.
And wait, what's a typical? I mean, is that 18, 24,
what does that
I would
36
say
months?
it's about 18 months.
So
Yeah.
right now, I'm supposed to have a crystal ball that in 18 months, this is what the insurance rates are going to be, and that's the challenge that we have
Correct.
as the thing. Like, we can't provide you something that no carrier is going to really put their numbers on the line. Today, it's good. It's kind of like a construction quote. Yeah.
And I know the DRE knows that.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you can put disclaimers on the bottom.
Yeah. yeah. This
This is subject to all the conditions that occur at the time that
Sure.
kind of like
that is
when you get a construction quote, it's like pricing's good for 30 days.
That's
you better
right.
you better make a decision or else. Yeah, it is. I mean, there's definitely a lot of headwinds, but we love to see that you're advocating, and that this is why we do this podcast, is to try to bring that forward to a lot of people, because I don't think they see it or hear it all the time. So.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where we're constantly educating. Again, now we're educating the Department of Real Estate with, so here's what the insurance department's doing.
Yeah.
This is how it's affecting your department.
Yeah.
Because those two aren't necessarily talking.
Yeah, the unintended consequence.
Yep.
Yeah. I know it, and that's frustrating.
I like to
overall.
call California legislative and regulatory structure a circular reference.
Oh, well, that's cute.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Right.
It does not compute sometimes.
Yes, for sure. So,
Born and raised here?
No,
Oh.
I moved here when I was 19 years old to California, so Orange
Oh,
County.
Buffalo.
Yeah, I came
Right,
from
that's
Buffalo.
right.
So yeah, grew up and moved here. Part of the reason that I moved here is because the economy was not good at the time in that area, in the Rust Belt.
Yes,
we like to call it. But that area has really actually reinvented itself and thrived. So it's pretty cool to see.
and you got a
I've
football
heard.
team now,
And
finally,
I
right?
love my football
Right.
team.
Because for many years you had to
Go Bills.
be a fair weather fan for sure.
And I was.
Yeah.
We had a lot of heartbreak
Yes.
over the years. But again, that's another thing that came from my mother and grandparents was the whole Buffalo Bills thing. So that's a fun story, because my grandfather worked for Bethlehem Steel, and when they started the franchise back in 1960, they were looking to all the corporations around to infuse some money in to start the franchise. And my grandfather was involved, and so they've always had season tickets
Nice.
to
Oh,
go to
that's
the
fun.
game. So it was just always we always got to go to cool, fun little Buffalo Bills things back in the day.
Yeah.
So, and still do today. now.
Yes. How
So-
often you get out there for a game?
Well, we try to see one game a year.
Okay.
And when they come here, that's easy.
Yeah.
But then I'll try to go back if I can for one game.
Early in the season, hopefully, right?
Well,
it's not-
actually,
Before
I've
the
gone to
snow
a couple
shows up.
Januaries, and that's a whole experience.
I bet. Actually, I think that would be a fun
was
experience.
fun.
Yes,
Is that
and
the
get
one
all
where they
bundled up.
employ the fans to come in and help shovel snow?
I witnessed it. And I was in a bar across the street, and they
You were in
up,
a good spot then.
I was in
Yeah.
a good spot, and they were up on the stands shoveling snow. I mean, and they report for duty, and they have to turn people away. And you come with your own
Wow.
shovels, by the way. They don't even provide the shovels.
Wow. That's
Huh.
crazy. Because,
No,
I've seen.
these fans are unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable fan base. And I know there's a few of those across the country that are like the loyal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Green Bay and
Yes.
yeah, right.
And
It's just
I
like-
think Philadelphia Eagles.
yeah.
I mean, it's just great to
it's
see
ingrained
that.
in that. Yeah. It's part of their DNA to start out.
I
yeah.
mean, I've got friends that are Chiefs fans, and they're just, of course, they've had a great couple of years. But,
Yes. Well, I'm a
I think
Raiders
it's
fan.
Right?
We got a long ways
I
to go.
saw that.
Yeah.
I saw your Raiders.
Yeah, I
fan.
just got back in this morning actually from the game, and it was a loss.
How well-
Yeah.
Sorry.
But it's a
It
great
was still
stadium.
it was still fun though.
It's
right?
it's so much fun. I mean,
It's
it's
always
just so
fun.
electric there. Like to you pre-party at the casino and eat and drink and have a good time, and then you just walk over to the game and come back. So
That's
it's
awesome.
it's a great time for
That's
sure.
great.
So
Yeah, so I came here when I was 19 and just kind of worked my way, went to school, worked my way through, and and land, like I said.
and now you're a superstar.
No, well,
I mean, you really are.
well, that's very kind of you to say.
You have experienced a lot of things, and that's it's only partially
I
complete, right?
I will say that I do have a problem with saying
Yes to too
No.
many. Oh,
I don't say no enough. I say yes. I'm like, well, and I do feel like sometimes God opens a door and you're supposed to walk through it. And so I've always looked at these opportunities. Well, that must be what that
Mhm.
door's opening. I should probably walk through it. But I will admit that sometimes I think I need to be a little bit more discerning, because sometimes I walk through too many doors.
Yeah. Well, you
because
push
it's
back a
too
little. I
much.
think I asked you to do something. You're like, what's the timeline
I
on
know,
that? So
that-
that's
See,
you're
you're good. You're
that's like a first
practicing.
step,
You're
right? Like
practicing.
I'll commit, but yeah, realistically, I got a lot of stuff going on.
I know.
You might have to ask. Yeah, might have to ask me twice, right?
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's good to be wanted, right?
Yeah. So what ended up happening is, because I love this advocacy stuff, to your point about doing so many different things, little do you know that when you serve in local government, you know a lot about housing, and you know a lot about, governance of HOAs, that now these regional planning entities say, hey, you should serve in this role on this, 6-county planning agency called SCAG, which doesn't sound like a nice name, but it's Southern California Association of Governments, which has been such a, I serve on the Ledge Committee, the committee that oversees housing, and then I serve on the executive committee. So there's a lot of doors there.
Yes,
Yes.
that's a whole bunch of doors.
That's a lot of monthly meetings.
Oh, yeah, and again, I thank where I'm employed, because they really let me flex and do things and I'm like, I worked this past weekend to catch up on a few things, as I was at a conference, and things take you away and you're doing things, and my world collides with all that
Mhm.
and all the knowledge, and I just feel like where I'm at now, I can use all that knowledge to do things that at the core of what I feel like is my purpose here on earth is to serve communities, is to make them better, to make a difference, and make it better for people who live there, and safe in the communities, and and just to be a pleasant place for people to live, thrive, work, grow. And it's just such a blessing to be able to do that in all these different roles. So in a way, I kind of took on all this knowing that I'm going to eventually be done with city council, because we have term limits. So that's coming up at the end of 26. I'll be done. And then so that means that all these other little doors that I was in, those will go away, because that comes with the city stuff. But then I have all this knowledge that I can infuse into helping people that are in HOAs and the developers that are developing HOAs. Sometimes it's not just about it. It's not just about that. It's about, hey, that particular city, I know that city council member, you should probably just touch base with them.
Yes.
It's just weird little ways that it all kind of connects together, and it wasn't planned. and it just,
But it's filling your cup, right?
but it's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
cup overflowing.
Nice. But it is, right? You start, you learn, right? And then once you get a certain amount of knowledge, then it's like now it's fun to give back, right? It's fun to help others if you
Yes.
can, because you can open that door so easily where someone, if they don't have their relationship, they might be banging their head up against the wall. And right, if you can facilitate,
Yeah.
I love introductions of getting those two people to talk to each other that need to, to hear each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sitting in a meeting and I was sitting next to a mayor of Palm Desert, and I said, I'm working on this project for one of our clients, and I'm trying to figure everything out, and it's at this one location. She goes, "Oh," and she's like, "It's this on this corner and this and this and this." She says they need to do, and she was giving me advice already to
So good.
give to the developer about what would make that community successful in Palm Desert, because they have uniqueness,
Yes.
because they're not a
Time. Yep.
full-time
Yep.
kind of community.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
although things are shifting
They are. Yeah.
a lot in
Yes.
Palm Desert, Palm Springs, that area.
Yeah.
So it was the coolest thing.
That is so cool.
And those kind of things happen all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just and because those people, so people that are in public service, they have the ones that are doing a good job, I should say, want to serve their communities and want to find solutions and want the best for what's happening in their communities. And so when you connect with somebody like that, and I just love this particular person. Her name is Jan Harnick, so I'll say it out loud. Mayor Jan Harnick of
Shout out to Jan.
Shout out to Jan, who I was in a meeting with early this morning as well. She's just, she's got that heart. And so when you find somebody like that you connect on that level of that community spirit, that heart for community, it's just really cool because you can see
There's an energy about that.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
great.
Well, what is it? Yeah, speaking of the desert, that it's just blowing up. Seems to be blowing up there. And there's the new Disney development that's coming
Yes.
out there.
That's
have
there's
you
wave
walked through
pools.
there?
There's
Yeah.
there's all kind. I mean,
Cotina.
Cotina. That's what it
It's
is.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Yes. Yes.
What a beautiful, and by the way, that is being managed by Disney.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard.
Isn't that interesting?
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, from a service level, right, of just that expectation of experience, right? You're
Yeah,
gonna
that
have
experience,
Yeah.
that manager that is managing that community and dealing with those residents
Yeah.
is a Disney employee and
Yeah.
Disney trained in Florida
Yeah.
because we heard all about it. So cool. But people pay for that.
Sure.
Yes.
But what a great opportunity to show
How to do it right.
how to do it right
Yeah.
and see the value that comes with, because that costs money. But if people can understand the value that's associated with that, maybe that's a good sign for our industry, because I feel that we haven't compensated management companies the way that they should be compensated. And so when I do budgets, I try to bump
Mhm.
those management fees
Yeah,
up a little bit.
We
Yeah.
touched on that with our last guest, but it's right. It seems like the property management space, it's been a race to the floor in fees,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, and then what value? It's hard for them to bring value if you can't pay people a competitive wage, right?
That's right.
Especially with all the competition. I've heard one, a property management's competing with Amazon that's going to let someone work from home and not get yelled at, not get any of the pressures that a manager has.
Yeah.
For the same cost. So yeah.
Everybody's competing with Amazon, I
Yeah.
swear.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little nutty.
Well, what's your
Woo!
thought? Because obviously you've been on the property management side, and on all your roles. We do this podcast to try to elevate stuff. What's your thought or mindset of how do we continue pushing that forward? Obviously, pay people more, but what are some of the other things that you think we can do?
Well, I think what we can do as an industry is that we can recognize that there are ways to serve our clients without bad mouthing the competition.
Love
Yes.
that.
Man, does that happen!
I love that.
Yeah.
And you don't see that as much in the building industry world.
Right.
And so it's just really interesting to see, it's so much, it's just, let's be more professional about that.
Yeah.
Like, that should be a red flag for any board member. If you've got somebody in there bad mouthing the other guy,
Yeah.
and they're not talking about what they do,
What they bring
Yeah.
to the table.
or, hey, do you know that this person lost, and they lost and did, it goes on and on. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because that would be a red flag for me.
Well,
Yeah.
raise
Agree.
yourself on your own accolades. You don't have to
Yes.
push your competition down, right?
Yes, and we need to the manager and the management company are the core of making everything else that goes on in that community work. We aren't compensating them according to
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And so I think
You get what you pay for,
you
right?
do, you
Yeah.
really
How do you think we
do.
shift that? It's almost like all management companies need to come together, right?
Yeah, but
And
I don't know if that'll
I,
happen.
I agree. I'm not
But
sure there's another way, but we would love to see it elevated
well, I think
and get
board
them
members
compensated
can.
appropriately.
I think board members can do that.
Yeah.
I think they can say, we want it. How many hours a week are we going to have this
Mhm.
person?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's be realistic.
Yep. Yep.
And let's compensate appropriately. Board members can do that.
And really, what is the remit of that manager, right? Because a lot of times they're like, oh, they're going to be your manager, but what is their actual responsibilities, right? Identify those and
Absolutely.
quantify them. And then also, too, if there's more work that needs to be done, then, right, the property management should be compensated for it.
That helps them set the expectation,
Yeah,
right? So the board has an expectation based
Yep.
off of this kind of
Yeah.
communication and conversation.
Yep.
So that it can be met
Because, if they're
versus
defer,
them always being disappointed.
Well,
you know?
and then also let's make sure that we have the manager focusing on what the manager should be focusing on and not this crazy stuff that goes on in communities
Mhm.
that's just about neighbor to
Distraction.
neighbor baloney.
yeah.
I mean, let's focus on the business and tasks that we're at hand, and the board can help drive that.
Yeah.
And be a good support and partner to the manager.
Instead
And
of making them an order taker, right? Yeah.
exactly.
And I
And
think,
then the management company providing those backup sources so that everything doesn't fall on that poor manager.
yeah.
Mhm.
So a real solid financial backup, just really wrapping support around the manager, because it's not an easy job.
No.
Right.
And it's gotten worse.
We call it the purple squirrel, right? There's supposed to be an arborist. There's supposed to be a financial analyst, a construction manager,
An attorney. It's like,
everything,
yeah.
and they're not. It's just too much to do.
So one of the things that Murrow does is we do Murrow as a company does everything from entitlement through construction management, project management, all the way down to bond exoneration of a development. So we like to say we are
Soup to nuts, yeah.
we are every part of a development. And one of the things that we do is we just kind of come alongside the developer, but we are we sit on the board, a lot of boards, and as a board declarant, and we provide support that we can help the management side as well as the developer side, and really be that kind of we can kind of help set, because we're kind of a neutral
Mhm.
consultant.
Yeah.
So we help in a lot of cases, and we sit on about, I want to say, roughly 22 different boards.
Yeah.
On our team does, and it's
That's
a joy
valuable.
because we feel like we're a value to the developer and we're a value to the management team.
Right, because
Yeah.
eventually it's gonna turn into a situation, right? They have to take that over, right? So the developer's coming off. So yeah, if you're that kind of neutral
Exactly.
party, because we see that with a lot of HOAs, like, well, they're doing everything for the developer, and the board's trying to take control.
Exactly.
So that's a great
Yeah.
mix. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah,
What's your vision for the next 5 to 10 years for HOAs? Like, what are you just talking about elevating them and getting them in a good place and operating well and living in community and being happy about it? And
Well, I think probably all the things that we talked about, and really trying to set and I see CAI as in our industry entities as a core piece of this, but really providing the education to all the parties. That's why CAI is so just a very important part of this, because they're the board member, the manager, and then all the service providers, and just providing that education that they do so well, including online. I mean, at the federal level, they do great things, as well as at the chapter level,
Mhm.
and of course our state. I think if we can continue to do that and do it well, every year we get a little better.
yeah.
That is what I think is gonna help.
the education is huge.
Education and communication. And look, all these new platforms for getting info out.
Yep.
These are our friends.
Well,
Yes.
this is how people are digesting content now, right?
Mhm.
And from an educational standpoint, it's not go, sit in a webinar for 3 hours or whatever. It's like short, concise things. Because I mean, we're all buying for time, and just we need to get more of this out. So we appreciate you coming today.
I
Yeah.
have a question. It might be a little controversial. What is your thought on managers being licensed?
Well, I
Not
think
by a real estate license,
got it.
right? Yeah.
Well, I will say that we believe that the education and certifications that CAI provides is a pathway for um, that. I think requiring licensing is going to increase substantially management costs.
Mhm.
Um, and they don't, and there's a whole infrastructure that would have to be set up
Yeah.
for the state of California that they don't have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that being said, I believe requiring a certification
Mhm.
that is done by industries that are an industry that's already in place. That's CAI. I mean, CACM is also a tool for
California
a
based.
resource for
Yep.
California. So we've got CAI, CACM, and having a certification from one of those credible organizations, I think, is the answer to that,
Mhm.
because not everybody is certified. And then maybe we are a little more robust in our recertification
Like that
to keep
idea.
people up to date.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's a little bit loose now. But I mean, look, the compensation has to equal the professional
Agree.
expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's got to get bumped a little.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree on the recertification and even the education up front because times have changed so much, right?
Oh, yeah.
Technology, all of the things, how you can utilize AI as a
Yeah.
tool, and yeah,
All of that.
all of it.
And by the way, that can be a tool that can help you write things that used to take you 30 minutes to pop out. Now you can be like, boom, boom, and okay, I'll edit it.
And I
And we
think,
don't use it enough.
yeah,
I mean, those of us that are a little of the older side.
Mhm.
I
We're
think
not
too.
using
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we like to talk about a lot of AI stuff too. I'm very passionate about it, but I think you can also not just do something quicker, but you can provide a better service, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And now you can up the expectation without a lot more output. So now you're getting something faster. You're saying, hey, in addition, let's do this, this, and this. So now you can exceed expectations where before you're trying to barely meet them.
Yes.
So I think there's management.
good.
I know a lot of management companies are working on, just the transactional type things, right? Oh,
Mhm.
I have an architectural application. I have something else, right? Get some of those
Yeah.
transactional things off the manager's desk so that they can
Amen.
Yeah, I think
they
that'd be
can
great.
actually be a facilitator or help because they actually have time to be able to take on a project or take on a concept that
Which helps them be
might
more
have.
proactive versus reactive to everything.
And then the
Yeah.
client's happier, right? Because
Exactly.
they're actually getting additional value, not just hey, you're checking all the boxes every month. Because I think that's what happens is they just get to a point where like, well, we did the board meeting, we did this, so we're good. But you're not exceeding expectations. So I'm super excited.
That's so
Yeah,
true.
it's exciting.
And also another area that can really be improved upon is just that working cooperatively with local government, local agencies, your police, your animal services, your city, your county. There are things that we could be doing more cooperatively with the HOAs that needs to be improved upon, and so that could be something
Give me one
we could work
example.
on. So one example is working with the with fire. So we got to do fire mitigation.
Right.
What does the city do? What does the HOA do? Because sometimes it's fire mitigation that goes outside the property line, right?
Mhm.
So just in those instances, working cooperatively with cities, with the fire department, and maybe even going out and working on having access to one entity that's going to do this clearing so that we can do cost savings
Yes.
for the HOAs.
Economy of scale. Yeah.
And that's not happening.
Yeah.
And maybe we could do better in
Yeah.
that area. So once I'm off the city council,
You got
maybe these like ideas
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things, and we could have some roundtables, and we could do some great
Oh, I
things.
love this.
I mean, the water districts do it, and they've done
Yeah.
a great job.
Mhm.
Actually, they do a lot of those types of things. But this fire mitigation is becoming so much more important.
And the insurance from that perspective, they're requiring a lot more.
Yes.
And it's you might be okay with the city or the state, but the insurance companies actually might have even higher standards. So because we see a lot with the fuel mod stuff, A lot of
Yes.
these boards go and do this great work, spend a ton of money, and it doesn't have an impact on the insurance. So that's kind of an advice too. Like before you spend all this money,
Right.
That's
and you're
Talk to your
saying
good.
broker.
your goal
Talk to your
is to
broker.
save on insurance, go take that
So
solution
yeah, so you should be
bef-
there too.
before. Yeah, exactly. Well, get everybody. It is
Yeah.
right. A round table. Get everybody in the room to say,
Yeah.
what are the either the intended consequences or the unintended? Because a lot of people they want to do good, but if it's not going to financially benefit them, they might make a different decision. So
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing what your next evolution is.
Well,
so,
and at some point I'm going to retire.
yeah,
Um,
I like that.
I-
At
Yeah,
some
but not
point,
soon, right?
Yeah.
Not
But at
soon.
some
you still got
point-
some work to do, right?
right, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the I feel like I'm in a place now where I can take all the experience of all these
Yes.
years and use it in one place,
I'm really
and
focused.
I can just really kind of go out on a high.
Yes.
I can't wait because I got to be honest with you. After going through all these doors and
Yeah.
being very, very busy,
It's
it will-
windy, right?
It will be nice to just maybe
I bet.
a little bit less.
Yes.
I bet. We're
Well,
so
thank
happy
you so
you're
much for
here.
coming. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
Thank you
It's
for
great to
being
be
here.
here.
yes, yes,
Yay.
It's like being in a living room.
yes.
Yes.
Just a
That's what
conversation.
we had hoped that.
Yeah, it's like being in a living room. It's great.
And Wendy, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me at my office is in Irvine, and so you can call me on my cell 94.
Oh.
Do you want me to give it out?
Yeah. You're great. That's awesome. I love
You
it.
can reach me on my cell, which is 949-466-6070. But probably an easier way, and I can track it better, is to email me at wendy.bucknum, BUCKNUM, at creedgroup.com. Will you put it on?
We'll put it in the notes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
for sure.
this just so you can get the spelling right.
Yes.
So that would be a way to contact me, and we help with everything from existing HOA, construction management, and think earth movement. Like if you have a slope that's moving, you have drain, we even do pavement management programs. So anything that has to do with dirt and earth is kind of our core of how we help you. We don't do a lot of things like the construction management companies that are doing vertical, unless it's a big project like a recreation center or something like that. We're very specialized in that. So we're unique. And that's what we do for existing HOAs.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. We will see you on the next episode of Next Level Living. Bye.